Here we are, Season 2, Episode 3, the Deek Snipe Silly Podcast with your hosts, Kylie Murren, Patty Phillips, Chad Newman, and myself, Ryan Gates. And we're hot off of the worst game of the year, Game 6.
Since Friday. Worst game since Friday.
I'm saying worse than the Ottawa game last year, or pretty close to it.
No.
I don't know.
Anyway,
pretty close.
We're going to talk
bad.
about this.
It's 1A, 1B.
But I mean, the Ottawa game, there was a lead, and then we lost it. There was no hope in this game.
We scored goals in the Ottawa game, and Ottawa had their full team.
Yeah.
But anyway, here we are. The game sucked. It sucked hard. We're going to talk all about it. We'll probably go up and down the organization, talk about lots of things, right from top down. So, before we get going, big shout out to our sponsor, PHG Sports out of Whitby, Ontario. They've got a showroom in Whitby. It's important too, guys, when you pop by their booth at Costco. They've been the longest running supplier of hand sign merchandise to Costco Canada. It's important when you stop by their booth to ask them what else they've got. That's one thing that I've always learned from talking with Todd, is that if they can't possibly display everything they have, and they always encourage people to stop by, have a chat, tell them what you're interested in. You'd be surprised what they might have poked away. So, again, big shout out to PHG Sports. Again, their mid Costco Roadshow. So keep an eye on their Facebook, Twitter, and their website for updates on where they're going to be. But we got to get going on this. This is a hot topic. It's all over the news, so that's why we're podcasting. Titter tatter. Let's get at her.
It was all your fault.
I had to go to Marner jersey tonight, Chad.
Boy, I need one. Like I said, I'm willing to buy everybody's.
You know, are we gonna just gotta stop watching and pick up and start cheering for the Habs or something? No.
Nah.
Hell no. I'd start watching basketball before I do that.
What's our options?
Nothing. You know what? The thing that really stuck to me last night in our group chat, for anybody, okay, well, I guess we're recording. Anybody who doesn't know, on nights when we're not podcasting, we're group chatting, because these three of my best buddies when it comes to Leafs fandom, and we chat a lot outside of the podcast as well. And I think it was like 5-1, and Kylie messaged, she said, I hope they score 10. And I was like, me too, because I was like, this is so embarrassing for me personally. I'm not going to be satisfied unless they're more embarrassed. And that's a hard line to toe as a fan, certainly as a super fan, because I consider myself to be at that level, you know,
above average for
100%.
sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm watching it, and we go through this every year, and everyone's like, the plane is crashing into the mountain. You know, the Ottawa lost last year. I mean, it's just the big devastation, and I'm getting numb to it. And I'm just like, you know what? Why am I going out and ripping these guys? They're world-class talents. There's obviously something wrong. And I don't really think it's just, it's not the players, and not just the players, but there's a little tiny just in there, because it doesn't matter who you have in there. It could have been, Matthews and Marner and Phaneuf and Kessel and everything else. It's the same result every year. It's the big joke, the running joke. But if the most wealthy franchise was awarded to, if you got Stanley Cups for being the most wealthy franchise, I mean, you'd have it not. But you haven't earned that. You have a great business going. You don't have a hockey club. And it kills me. It's not my style to go for that. Exactly. And a very, very successful one. You can't knock that. But I can't stand to see everybody just ripping the players. Like, you're telling me that Mitch Marner's not out there eating himself alive.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to make something happen. Yeah. It's a culture, and it starts at the very top when the media owns the team, and it's in the city where it's all hosted, and you make all this money off the controversy and ripping the players, and the fans bite for it every time. I'm done. I'm done with that.
Feed off it.
I'm not listening to it. We got our page, Leafs Nation Newfoundland. You got to see the stuff on there. I'm not even going to bother. I was like, you know what? Let the boss gripe, because you know what? There's going to be a lot of crow to be fed there soon. You know, sometime like they're going to figure it out and they're going to get above it. The players will figure it out. They're going to hopefully find that Boston connection, not just hockey, but they have it there. Baseball, football, basketball, they get it. Toronto does not. They have a little peak with the Raptors, and they couldn't hang on to that momentum. They had the TFC, couldn't hang on to that one. So I feel like it's coming, but it's got to happen at the top. Start supporting the team, stop ripping them. And it starts with the owners. I don't want them to own the team anymore. I don't want it.
Well, that's been a conversation since we've been born about the owners of that team. And I mean, it's gone through many hands. And at this point now, it's owned by, it's not one person.
Bill and Rogers, the media, Sportsnet and TSN.
And they get to write what they want. And it's like puppets almost, and then you got, right?
Like you have last year, like one of the most hurtful years. And then we have to watch All or Nothing, more money. And it's like, microscope in the players' lives and every issue of their game. Like, how do you expect to get success like that? You do that after you win a cup, okay? Win a cup and then expose the team.
Then follow them around. Yeah, right?
It's gross.
I feel like the plug should have been pulled on that. Like the minute that game was over, the plug should have been pulled on that. Not because of, I mean, there was a lot of money spent in it, but Amazon can suck it up because that was so personal. And I feel like that never helped anybody. It might have helped some fans, but it definitely didn't help the boys. There's no way it did.
Can you imagine now let's say game 6, when we're going into overtime, or either one of the games for going into overtime. And they're in that locker room and Keefe is trying to get the best of the team. And there's no less than probably 2 cameramen and a guy holding a microphone, and they're shining that around the room.
Up in your face, right?
Yeah. Can you imagine?
A great idea.
You know, like, I mean, I don't know. For doing young team off on that, for me, it's questionable for the general manager to sign off on that. I know maybe it's not his decision, but ultimately somebody's got to say, this is not good for our team. This is not good for a bunch of guys in their early 20s.
It's about that.
I know.
It's all about the coin.
All about the coin. And you know what? Richest franchise again.
Yeah.
$2 billion.
And they will still sell out. They'll still sell seats. They'll still sell jerseys. Exactly. And what odds about the cup? We can be the laughing stock. Did I see
Matthew's jersey tossed on the ice the other day?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But you know what? Part of me.
But I think that was. Go ahead.
Yeah, part of me thinks the team this year, the team last year, the team before that, you take them out of Toronto, you put them in another market. That team by itself, those players do not have the disappointment that we've seen thus far.
Can you imagine these guys? I
definitely don't think so. I don't know how. Like Babcock used to talk about his players being in a safe environment, and I don't think the media in Toronto is as bad as Montreal. I think like in Montreal, it's real bad. I just don't know how to get rid of the pressure. The only way to do it is win.
You got to change the culture, right?
Yeah, it's the only way you do it in this market.
Like you got to have a beating heart at the end of the day. Like you look at businesses, you look at like a total different business. You look at the way the people first is coming around. You will make great money, but we will succeed. It's not the scoring you to success. It never worked. It made people miserable, and it's showing it on ice. They're miserable.
Okay, so we've started at the top, being ownership. I guess now we're never going to get our sponsorship from Rogers. Oh well, but anyway,
man, they love controversy. Why not?
Yeah, maybe we got a great sponsor. Thank you, PHG Sports. But we started at the top there. We're talking about ownership. Let's work our way down. Let's talk about what could or couldn't change all the way down right to the minors. So ownership is there. Then you got the guy who's connected to ownership, and that's Brendan Shanahan. Now, I was actually thinking about Shanahan last night when I was watching that game. I was thinking about, I mean, I'm a junkie for old clips. You know, I'm a junkie for it. And when Shanahan came over to the Leafs, I started back my fandom back to his Detroit Red Wings days. And I was like, man, that if he can bring in a couple of players like him or bring that kind of work ethic, anything that is remotely Shanahan to this team is going to be a benefit. And I was thinking about him last night when I was watching that game. I was like, if he's watching this, how is he feeling? You know,
he doesn't want fighting.
A guy who just is an absolute warrior. How's he feeling about what he's got in front of him? You know,
he doesn't want the game to be like he played. He's been open about that.
I know.
And that's okay too, because I mean, it is a different era. I mean, that was
he
a
got
lot
a
of
few
that back
Stanley
then
Cups,
was
I believe.
not safe. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
See, the first thing,
But I mean, that Red Wings
beat it out of
team,
people.
that was before like salary cap era. I'm right in saying that?
Yeah.
Like, so they bought themselves cups those years. And I mean, if we could do that now, we probably would have already done it. But
Well, it's a Stevie Y times.
we can't change that. You know what I mean? Yeah, we can't change the fact that there's a salary cap now. Being the richest in the franchise means fuck off,
Okay.
honestly.
So let me ask you guys this, and you guys can all take your turn to respond. Is Brendan Shanahan the right guy for the job at the top here with the Maple Leafs? Yes or no?
the answer today is no, but like
I
we'll
don't know.
eventually get to Dubas. So, I don't know what moves they've done that are bad. Yeah, of course they're not working out, but I can't say after every playoffs or after every disappointing season, the media or someone in hockey has picked out an area
Who's fired?
in Toronto that needs a little bit more work, whether it be defense or grit or more depth scoring, and they've answered the bell every single time.
Yep.
It's
With
like
the exact same result.
yeah. So I
So
don't know
you
what
gotta
it
look-
is.
So, exactly. So what is that problem?
Like I don't
It's
think
the culture.
I don't think realistically, unless I don't know Shanahan's job, I don't think Shanahan, his day-to-day job has a lot of impact on the product on the ice. Yeah,
I'm
he
not
has
sure.
to approve
No.
trades and those things, but I can't really say that they've made a move that I don't agree with. And
The only move I would like to see is change ownership. Give it to an honest person who actually wants to win. Give it to an owner who actually
give it to
thrives to
Tannenbaum.
win. Yes.
But like when we have corporations like that owning them, they don't give a shit. We already know that
BlackBerry
about
guys still
Bill
got money
and
or
about
what?
Rogers. Like they don't care. Like you might as well give it to Apple. Like they're just all about the money.
Dean
So
McDonald.
there you go.
And friends.
And friends, us.
I'll take it 1%.
I'll take a
I
share.
can pool my savings.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like really, ownership doesn't even matter right now in a salary cap era. Like they're always maxed out. Like I don't even Rogers or Bell doesn't really matter. I don't think anymore. I just think I think we got to go beyond ownership. There's a higher God that's screwing with this team.
Honestly, I've said that too,
This
Patty.
doesn't even make sense.
The shit that has happened in the last, we'll say, Matt Aston Matthews, Mitch Marner era, between Zamboni drivers and all that has happened.
Ottawa loss.
Game sevens. Yeah.
Everything. I can't even
Endless
go
game
back
sevens.
to, and just the odd bounces or the weird whatevers. There's that happens in every game. I will say that.
Unbelievable.
But it's just like
goalies,
the shit that have happened. I mean, if you went back 5 years ago and you told all of us that all that stuff was going to happen, I would have said you're nuts. Yeah. Because no, that shit don't happen. But it's like, I've honestly said to myself, I suppose they're not actually doing this just to make the media and to make us and to make the Leafs.
No, you can't even script this if you wanted to. There's no way.
Right? It's just there's no other way.
Decided that this is the route they wanted to go, and they master planned it so that the Leafs would choke. This is just a byproduct of what they've done. So I agree full-heartedly with Chad. The ownership group is not what the Leafs need. But like I said, there's a little bit more blame to pass around in that, and I'm getting to that as we work down our tree here. So we're kind of lukewarm on Shanahan. I like Shanahan. I like Division Ed coming in, not hanging to the Lou Lamoriellos and giving Dubas a shot. Which brings me to Dubas. And I'll give you my 2 cents on Dubas first. I asked you guys for your response last time. Kyle Dubas to me is an absolute genius. I think I really think he's the new age of hockey, and the things he's been able to accomplish, right from you can't sign them all, right to you can't put good players around him, to the whole shooting match. Everything people said he couldn't do, he's done, except win. And there comes a point.
Except that he did with the Marlies.
Yes. Yeah. And there comes a point where the winning can't all fall on him. But I wanted to hear what you guys got to say about Dubas, because like I said, don't hold back if you do feel he's missing the boat on something.
I'll pop in there. Dubas gets there's Austin Matthews and there's Mitch Marner and William Nylander. And you can't sign them all. He signs them all. Now he brings in Tavares, unreal. John Tavares, he brought in a captain. All I get to hear now is that Tavares was a mistake. They overpaid him. Marner, you overpaid that guy. Nylander, he was the whipping boy since He's slapped on the actual Leafs jersey instead of the Marlies. And when's it going to end? Like, just look at the collection of players you have, and if you ever found out a way to support and actually get those guys smiling again on the ice, it's going to be good times. But when you get them in the situations, and man, the ghosts of every year are always going to be there because nothing changes. Everybody rips them. I'm not saying break up the pom-poms, be honest, but like it's just ugly right now, and people get the, I don't know. I like Dubas. I think he's the right guy for the job. I think he has the empathy to understand what's going on. I just don't know if he can install it into the players, like to get the ghosts out.
Yeah, I agree.
Those demons. Yeah.
You know what? Like, I mean, the one thing I'll say about Dubas, like, again, he's answered the bell every single time, and he hasn't bent to public pressure by no means. He's stuck to his plan. He's not deviated from that. So, as a business person, like any leader like that, I think is awesome that he's sticking to his plan. That's what he believes in. And you know what? I hate the argument. A couple of arguments that typical, and some Leaf fans make it as well. One, the whole Mitch Marner overpayment. Well, you know what? The Leafs were going into a very critical season when Marner was not there at training camp at the beginning. They couldn't let him sit for the entire year. There were potential contenders or a deep playoff run that particular year, so they weren't let him sit. So, but let's just say they did pay him $2 million too much. I don't think that's the case. Like, was he fourth overall in scoring last year, first or second line player for Team Canada? I think he's worth his dollars. But let's just say he is worth $2 million too much. Well, what are we going to do? Do you think an extra $2 million is going to fix this team today?
Well, my argument with that is when people bring up that Mariners paid too much by $2 million, guess what? We solved that on Jason Spezza.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And
he paid Mitch Marner what he had to pay him to get him signed. And then he went out and made deals, which he sold that $2 million back. Because that Jason Spezza is not making that money on any other of the 31 teams in the league. He's making at least $1.5 million more than he's making now. So Dubas, yes, because no one's talking about that. They're like, oh, Mitch Marner's overpaid. No one ever follows it up with, but Jason Spezza is underpaid. I've never heard anyone say it.
And throw Nylander into the mix there. No one has ever come back and said that he's underpaid, which I think he is right now.
He's playing above his contract currently. Yep.
That's the first serving of Crow that something needs to be served up. It's just that the other ones aren't firing up yet, but there's going to be more served coming around. It's going to happen. Yeah, it's just people got to grow up. They got to grow up and just give it up.
Sorry, the other argument, which I absolutely hate, is, well, you should have traded Mitch Marner out of his entry level contract. Yeah. So when was the last time a superstar coming out of their entry level contract was traded? The only one that I can remotely, and I don't know what the exact numbers were or the time frame, was the Ron Johansson for Seth Jones trade, and that was
he requested
budding
trade,
superstar for budding superstar, and look how that turned out for Johansson. Not very well. So, like the Leafs had no. Listen, if anything, the Leafs drafted too well. That's the argument I'm going to make today.
Yeah, because you got to watch people
Literally.
leave, and Hyman gets paid to a team that could afford him. But here we got Michael Bunting at $950.
Yeah.
And that Dubas, what a bum.
With every other team in the league who are, with the exception of Edmonton, every other team in the league that is wholeheartedly playing the lights out night in, night out. And then again, Edmonton doesn't do that all the time. But let's exclude Edmonton from this.
They know all about this.
Every other team that you look at that's at the top of their division, top of their league, their best players and their most impactful players are veterans. Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, and William Nylander are nowhere near the conversation of putting them into a veteran category, right? Not even close. Now, I'm not saying you can't win when your best players are not veterans, but it's really, really, really rare. Like we've talked about that a few podcasts ago. We talked about Chicago Blackhawks when Taves and Kane were young. Yes, it happened. Sidney Crosby when he was young, it happened. But after that, the list gets awfully small, awfully short. The guys who are winning Stanley Cups are guys who are in their late 20s, sometimes early 30s, and they're finally getting over that hump and learning to win. Yeah. I understand everyone's panicking because we might not have that window with those players because we're slowly running them out of town. People realize that as well, right?
Yeah. Look at Colorado.
Yeah,
Colorado's a perfect example. They've got a young core there. They're going to start feeling it. I don't know when McKinnon is up. I don't know if he's up after this season or next. But like Colorado was
they
in
can't
probably
afford everybody.
more win now mode. They don't got all their stars locked up long term like we do.
He said he'd take another discount.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say.
Yeah,
Mr. Discount.
He never took a discount the first time. No. Everybody thinks he took a discount the first time.
That's right.
McKinnon was far from a great player coming out of his
No, he was disappointing so far.
And then that'll be
to that point.
Definitely. Yep. It's no difference in Pasternak. Same thing. He started to go to a different level after that first contract. Like it just unfortunately it happened for us to all
another one that says he does it, out of his loyalty. So,
but and now the whole Freddie Anderson talk. We can get to that after.
Well,
I don't care what he does in Carolina. He's not.
I'm interested to see when all these guys that got typical. If Zach Hyman, Freddie Anderson, Bogosian, any of the guys that got left, got out of Toronto for this season, I wonder if they ever write an autobiography. Are they going to say that All or Nothing thing was fucking brutal? Pardon my English.
I hope so.
Someone's going to say
I don't want to play in a market that's going to do that to me.
So the last thought I got on the whole Marner thing, because it drives me crazy. Yes, I'm as frustrated as anyone, but you know what? If the Leafs have to trade Marner because of his playoff performance and he's a regular season player, and I might have said this on the podcast before, or I've said it somewhere else lots of times, well, then Edmonton's got to trade McDavid and Draisaitl because there is no difference there. I know McDavid is the best in the world.
You're not wrong.
McDavid is by far the best in the world, but what has he done?
So at hockey tonight in the dressing room, the Marner thing got brought up because my buddy that sits next to me, he's a huge Leafs fan, and they're talking about it. And I brought up the Team Canada. I was like, here we got a guy. I say line 2, if not, probably 3, but it's a pretty top 1, 2, or 3 lines are all kind of like the same. Him and Tavares will be on line 1 or 2, and they're like, I don't know, man. Like, there's no guarantee he's going to make the team. I'm like, okay, I don't even need to talk about this anymore.
Not even sensible. Like
blinded, just absolutely blinded by
the Leafs traded
by
Mitch Marner today.
Gotta hate, man. Gotta hate.
The Leafs traded Mitch Marner today, which they will not trade him anytime soon.
Nope.
They would be trading him at a severe discount. They will never, in any circumstance, ever win a trade today involving Mitch Marner. It will never.
Well,
throw Willie Nylander in there.
It would set the
franchise back.
I mean, what's the proper payment for Marner then right now? What would be the sensible?
Well, unless it's player for player, which makes no sense unless 2 players were requesting a trade. Unless it's player for player, where you're trading him for a guy who's of the same age and in the top 5 in scoring, which I'm pretty sure is only Austin Matthews and McDavid. And it's hard to trade for Matthews.
Wouldn't it be funny if Line ended up over there? Just imagine that, like just spitballing, like dreaming.
Yeah. I know.
For Marner.
That'd be funny though.
Yeah, we'd be
have Austin.
Again, we don't win that trade, right?
I mean, what about like Eichel? Why can't we do Eichel? Put him on LTIR, sign somebody, and then he comes back in the playoffs. No, I don't mean like.
I don't know.
How's that?
I've seen people saying that today.
How's that?
I don't want Eichel anywhere near that team.
I don't either. I don't. I've never been a huge fan of him. Like, I mean, he's great, but he hasn't done anything that has been made him worthy of any of the conversation that he gets. But anyway,
there's not one trade that I would. There's not one trade I would make, because you know what? One of 2 things. Now here I'm going to start
Matthew Tkachuk.
Like, you know what? The Leafs don't want first round picks and prospects during win now mode. In order to get something back from Marner in a salary cap area, you're going to take on another troublesome contract. So you're going to take another player on that's 9 or 10 million, and that team is not going to trade a player that's beyond their potential or playing beyond their contract. So you're going to take on a contract there where they're probably underperforming. You're back into the same situation. You'll never win that trade.
Oh, you're not trading Mitch Marner and getting better. It's impossible.
No,
you can't. He's in the top 5 in scoring last year and has led the team in scoring every year since he's been drafted.
No, just stupid talk though. Just
he's broken.
Stupid talk though.
Yeah.
What if
he just needs to get fixed?
Matthew Tkachuk.
However that is.
I wouldn't trade him for Tkachuk. No.
Oh. He's at $7 million and now going to be an RFA.
The only one I trade him for.
Paid.
I trade him for one of the top 5 defensemen in the NHL, and you can come up with that list, whatever that looks like.
Nope, I'm good, thanks. No, I just don't. I don't see any trade that works out. Anything short of names which are just so stupid that it doesn't make any sense. I know that's the reason why Marner's not going to be traded. Yeah, and me either. I don't even like it. But anyway, it is what it is. I want to
consider like a point per game player and an impact player.
Yeah, and one of the most creative players in the game. No, you just I want to continue on though. We talked about Dubas and we got sidetracked.
I wouldn't do it, but
let's get to Keefe. Sheldon Keefe. Now this is where stuff starts getting contentious, right? We're into the coaching staff and the players, and there's lots to be talked about. But we learned a lot about Keefe from the terrible documentary. That's one thing that I did take away from it. I'm glad I watched it because of that, because I learned a lot about who our coach is and what he's about. And for me personally, I'm giving Keefe this year. If I'm the GM, who's his best buddy, this is his year to, you got a full 82 games now, Sheldon. This is the first time. You've had good runs. You've made the team look amazing from time to time. What are you going to do in a full season? Because he hasn't proven anything. He's an AHL coach, who got brought up based on winning the championship and being buddies with the GM. But if your message is not getting heard in this season, you're in deep, deep, deep shit. If you're me, and that's my take. And I don't think he's a bad coach. I just think he's got to prove himself just as much as Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews, maybe even more so. You got to get through these guys.
Do you guys think? I've seen a lot of people today say how they think they have given up on the players. Have given up on Keefe like they did Babcock. Do you guys think that's the case?
I don't think so. I don't think so. No. And you know what?
I didn't think so either.
How many coaches do you have to go through? Someone on Twitter today, one of the analysts or whatever, someone just posted a picture of Tortorella. I
was just going to say that the amount of times I've seen Tortorella.
I wish Boudreaux would have joined as the assistant with that rumor going on last year or the year before. And I was like, okay, COVID's coming out. It would be great to have someone like Boudreaux come in, but is he going to take an assistant to Keefe? That's going to be a hard thing for him.
No.
I wonder, can we do a goalie tandem?
The one thing I like about Keefe,
I like it.
The one thing I like about Keefe that Babcock didn't do was Babcock, no matter where his team was in the standings, he wasn't changing outside of his mindset. He stayed with that power play unit night in, night out. Keefe, I think, is more open that if something's not working, he's gonna make a change. The easiest thing today to say is that Keefe's a bad coach and he should be fired. But you know
that's
what?
The easy way out. Yeah,
that's the easy way out.
The fans eat it up. That's exactly where they all go. They can't see beyond that.
This right now is on the players. There's no one else. I don't understand it. It seems like when you pull that jersey on, I can go down through one by one. There's 3 or 4 players since this season began that look good to me. It's Sandin, Nylander, Spezza, and Bunting.
I agree 100%. And Campbell before last night.
Yeah, Muzzin and Hall.
That's where it ends.
Garbage.
But you know what? We're going to forget about this in a few games. So I think, talk to me at 20 games. We had 6. Talk to me at 20 games. The guys will start rolling. It's not possible for them not to.
But it's just such an eye opener when you go up. It's like, if this was 7-1 against a fully stacked Pens, it's still unacceptable, right? But when you lose so wholeheartedly to a team without Letang, without Crosby, without Malkin,
I don't think it mattered.
Brian Rust, without Jeff Carter, all those guys
they were losing last night. It didn't matter if they played the Newfoundland Growlers. They were losing last night. It's up here. No offense to the Growlers, who are playing awesome, by the way. But you know what I mean? And I would honestly think they could beat them right now. And it's only because they're defeated in their heads. I don't know what's going on.
That first 10 minutes, you guys heard me last night in the group chat, and I said it to my wife. I said, this team looks like a team that's afraid to start a losing skid. They legitimately looked to me like they were afraid to lose even before the game started. I seen a tweet where somebody took a screenshot of the opening faceoff. 1959 was on the clock, and the faceoff, and Marner, Matthews, and Richie wrote, and the quote was, "This is where it all went wrong for the Leafs." And I was like, it's so true, because they just started the game they were I don't know if something got in their heads. I don't know. They just looked like they were terrified to make a pass. They were just not engaged.
Connected.
No, and I mean, there's one thing to say, they didn't start on time, which has been an excuse in the past.
They never do.
They just didn't start at all. Not really. They were just total disconnect, right? And I knew where this game was going last night. I wasn't expecting it to go 7-1, but I was after the first 3 minutes, I was like, yeah, they're going to lose this game.
And, I mean, they had a hard game versus San Jose. Like San Jose was a hard fought game. And then they had to hop on a plane and head down to Pittsburgh for that one. So it's not easy to roll in like that, but
yeah.
But look at some of the goals too. Like,
all right, you still got to try to win those, like better than
all those goals were like you're just gonna say, like a lot of them were kind of fluky, and it bounced off this person, and it's like, and like I don't know if you guys caught. I don't know if you guys caught what Jack said after the game, but like verbatim, it was just kind of like my details were there. So it's almost like he didn't really know what happened, you know?
Yeah, it happens. And like I said, that's how slumps happen.
And Matthews hits the post and out. And then I think Muzzin hit the post and out. And then Matthews, and then that freaking call on bunting at the end when Matthews got the goal. Like, what was that? Like, at that point, I was just like ready for them to just skate off the ice and leave. Like, just leave the game halfway through the period. Because it was just like, what else could happen?
They fucked on the Habs game.
So bad.
For those guys.
But back to Keith.
Of course, they win 6-1.
Back to Keith. Like, he's the one that's under most pressure right now. Like, yeah, I could see if they have a disappointing season, the entire from Shanahan to Dubas to Keith.
Shanahan, right? The whole Shanahan.
But Keith would be the one that could be gone during the season because of public pressure on Dubas. I could perhaps see that happening. I think the team will turn it around. Like, this is not on Keith. Listen, these are grown men. I know some of them are young. If you're not ready to play, that I don't think that's on Sheldon Keefe. What is he going to say in that dressing room that's going to spark them to go play? If they don't know how big these games are, especially coming off to the playoff defeat last year, then I don't know. This is totally on the players. This is not on anybody else. I don't think.
And Keefe knows because he's played the game.
Yeah. Right?
He's a pro. He knows.
Like, I don't know. I wasn't even disappointed last night at the game. I was just more like, I don't care.
I was glad I was at a party.
Which is worse.
I had other things to do.
Yeah.
I was kind of, I said, like you said earlier, Ryan, about it. I hope that it gets 10-0, but it's because they need this ass spanking. Yes, humility. Like they need this,
see, to me,
smack in the head.
I don't think that's.
I know you think for me, Game 7 loss last year is enough of a smack in the head to wake the F up. I'll say, but
but the scoring to success, I don't think it's going to work here. They're not going to respond to that.
No. So that brings us to the players. So we said Patty made, and I don't think there's anyone here who would disagree. Who's not getting it done at the most important times? I mean, you can't hang this on Wayne Simmons, for example. But who's not getting it done? That's my question to you.
It's the top three is Matthews, Marner, Tavares. I think I've seen enough from Willie.
Biggest salaries.
That he's trying, he's back checking, he's doing all of that. But your two centers got to be leading. Muzzin Hall has been really disappointing. Muzzin is making passes right now that I have never seen him look at last night.
Hurt?
But like the second period last night,
only his feelings, I think.
Yeah.
In the second period last night with Spezza,
but like I think he is.
Spezza gives that puck away. Like, he don't do that stuff.
No.
Like, the whole game was a freaking mess. Like you said, within the first 3 minutes, I was like, this is bad. Like, just the pucks just giveaway. Like you said, Muzzin, and then there was a really bad giveaway on that goal, the first goal. I can't remember who it was. I just blacked that out at this point. But yeah, it was just a messy game all around. But on the players, another player too that hasn't really impressed me too much is Kempf, and he was horrible last night. I think he was on the ice for like every goal.
He's been fine before this. I'd say
he was. Yes, he was fine before this
game.
Yeah. But this game, I mean, he just
Muzzin's been skipping practice for maintenance. And
there's something going on with Muzzin. I don't know what, but I think what we should talk about is probably load management with Muzzin. We have an extra D-man. I think Timothy Liljegren has completely proved himself that he can be there. I think you move him and Sandin up the lineup. Sit Muzzin every second game or at least sit him until he's better. Maybe it's not enough for LTIR. Obviously, he's playing, but there's something nagging him.
Yeah.
And I know Hull was sick. He was out for those couple games and missed practice with whatever flu. I mean, he might not be better yet.
It's just a
and
slow
it's 6
start.
games in.
We might have a Freddie October.
I mean, I would rather us have our slow or like our shitty spell now in October than in March. So
how's Freddie's October doing? You know?
Yeah, he's great. It's not Freddie.
It ain't Freddie.
Obviously, it's not Freddie. Oh, Freddie October. No.
It's still October. We're still losing. No. So we got Freddie Campbell now.
And Freddie's doing great in Carolina. I guess we'll see that tomorrow night.
Freddie's in the business conversation.
I'm waiting for people to connect these dots. Just connect the dots and stop ripping Mitch Marner and all that stuff. Just hang tight.
Yeah, I agree.
The only thing I'd like to see as the season continues is Sandin getting more of a role.
Yes,
I think he deserves it.
Put him on PP1.
He deserves it, but the Leafs need it.
Yeah,
the Leafs need him now.
And I'd be fine swapping him out with Hall on that pairing.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if Keefe, if that pairing continues to struggle, if Keefe will break him up, because that has been the most reliable pairing for the last number of years.
I can see him trying to be more physical. Like he wants to play more physical.
Yeah,
it's great. So I think
lowered the boom the other night. That was pretty impressive.
He did.
Yeah.
And he talked about last year. He felt like he grew into size and he's ready to play that style last year. So
anybody who wants to play like a 6'5" is fine by me. I'm cool.
Yes.
I'm here for
That's
it.
How you do it.
Yeah. I was going to say, I said to you guys last night, now I forget what I was going to say. No, I said to you last night about how he should be on power play 1. And it's just whatever way he walks that line, like Riley gets the puck, and if he don't see a clear lane to the net, in a corner it goes every time. Or he might pass it over to Brody or whoever might be there. But for the most part, it's
just as good.
He does, and it's just like, why can't you all do that? Like, walk the line, hold it until you see a good opportunity. There's Manny with his stick up, boom, one-timer in. No, Riley just throws it in the corner.
Swedish
all of a sudden, it's a 2-on-1 back the other way.
It's not by accident. It's not by accident that PP2 has looked better than PP1. Yeah. That's not by accident.
It's Sandin.
Their entries have been comparable. PP1's had a little bit of trouble with their entries, but their entries have been comparable. But once they get in, the second unit is opening up lanes because they're moving, because their bodies are moving, and it's primarily Sandin skating the line and opening up lanes.
That's right.
I agree. He got to get a bigger role, and he's certainly proved he deserves it. So. I think we're all on the same page there.
It's all coming. It's all coming. And we're going to see it all happen this year.
At the end of the day, for the players, there's not one trade out there right now that's going to make that team better. And if I see one more meme that Hyman has more goals than the top boys combined, I don't care how much money we had available last year. I am not signing Hyman to that contract. He will not be. I love Hyman. He will not be the last piece to get them to the Stanley Cup. They have just as many holes. They're off to a great start. Great for them, but no way that goaltending is taking them.
Man, I wish him all the best. I'm glad to see him do well. I can be happy for him.
They should also follow up that meme on it. McDavid's got 2.5 points per game.
That's all right.
In all seriousness, you could put Nick Patan or someone like that up on the wing with Connor McDavid and Draisaitl on a power play, and they would get a point a game. Exactly. Yeah. No offense, Patty. But you know what I mean? And we said that the day he signed over there is playing on a line with McDavid and Draisaitl. Like, you know he's going to do well.
You know what? They needed that. They had to pay for it.
And they paid.
And they did.
That's right.
I think it's going to be sustained? No, I don't think it's going to be sustained. Everyone's going to take a dip at some point, and that's why I'm glad our dip is right now.
Listen, I remember him being the biggest piece of crap in the league because he dragged Matthews down, and Babcock was the biggest loser forever, putting faith in him. And I guess that's only a couple years ago.
That wasn't too long ago.
Right?
No, it's not.
He's got 5 goals, guys. Bunting's got 2. What are we talking about here? What a stupid conversation, right?
Yeah. Speaking of Bunting, did you guys? I don't know if any of you have. No, he should be. But if any of you guys have a subscription to The Athletic, because there is a really, really good piece wrote about him like a week or so ago, like around opening night, a couple days after. Did you read that about his mom? Nope. Him and his mom.
Not.
Go find it. I think it's just the title is just like She's My Rock or something like that, but it's a full story about him, and it talks about his mom, obviously, but it's mostly obviously a story about him, but just his journey, and it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a beating heart that we need on the team.
It'll make you love him. Just appreciate him so much more.
I'm already there, so this is gonna be good.
Yeah. No, that's, I mean, I've read it out to Adam, and because we read it together pretty much, and two of us were just like, oh, like he deserves it. He deserves it. You know what I mean?
Good.
So
what I'd like to see,
that's what we need.
What I'd like to see going into the next game, I think Keith was right to mix it up. I mixed up from the start. What I would like to see, just to get, I mean, if you want to play together, Matthews and Marner, you got to get something going, and you haven't currently. So what I would do is go back to 3 years ago, and whatever it was when Babcock was coaching. Stick Tavares and Marner together again with Richie, and then Nylander, Matthews, Bunting. That would be my two lines. So it's just a shift of centers, basically, more or less. No, I guess a little more than that. But my point being is that's a full swap out of your top wingers with your top centerman, and mixing up the secondary wingers as well. And I think if you give that a few games, and if it doesn't click, then you go back to the Matthews Marner, say, okay, boys, we're going to give you a second chance at this. And I'd tell you 110%, this is assuming that the other combinations don't roll, which I think that they would, because Tavares scored 47 goals with Marner. I think if that for some ungodly reason didn't pan out, then they give them a second chance back together. It's just lights out from the rest of the season. I really believe that.
I would like to see it, but that means that's going to have to take a whole lot of practices to get that going. And if you want to go back to the other way, you probably could have been developing together on that side. So it depends on, you got to feed off the players there and what they're feeling.
I agree, but I think Matthews and Nylander got loads of chemistry. They played better part of 3 seasons together. Marner and Tavares, I think that's just two ultimately super talented, creative guys, and I think
that's why
that's already
what got Tavares there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He'll take on any role. He don't care.
Playing with him, yeah.
So I'd really,
do you want to know what
really
I would
like
do?
to see that.
I would do what you said for the top line: Bunting, Matthews, Nylander. But for my second line, I'd put JT, Marner, but I'd put like Kerfoot and probably rotate Spezza in there on the wing. And then on my third line is where Richie would go with Kampf and Kasha.
I love the idea of Spezza in the top 6. This is not new news. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, then you got Engvall, and then you have Spezza and Kerfoot that can interchange for that fourth line center when the other one's up on the second line, and then Simmons.
Like if I was to get you guys yeah, me too. I'm over Kerfoot. But if I was to get you guys to take a blank sheet of paper, I was actually thinking of this before the podcast. I was like, nah, I'm not going to trouble them now. It's late.
I did it.
But if I was to give you a blank sheet of paper and everyone write down now with their black Sharpie who the best forward has been this season for the Leafs, I'd be very surprised if at least 3 out of 4 of us didn't say Spezza.
Oh, no doubt about it.
If that's the case.
I got a Sharpie.
Well, you can write Spezza down if you like. Because if he's your best forward, or have at least shown it, then why aren't you going to get him? Willie's your best forward.
There we go. Yep.
I just had to because you said Spezza.
Yeah, fair enough. But if he's been arguably one of, at least we already established that he's one of the top 4 players, and we only listed 2 forwards or 3 forwards. Why not give him an expanded role in that top 6 to see if he can get some of the guys going? I mean, him and JT have chemistry. They play well together every time they play together. What is wrong with moving Richie down the lineup? Give him a bit of a wake up call. Get Spezza up there and just see. So like that's the only other combination that I really like is Spezza JT Willie. I think, or Spezza JT Marner, and even saying it feels right to me. You know.
Okay, so
do though.
At the very least, reward the guy who was the best playoff performer last year. He's been the best forward thus far this year. At the very least, just reward the guy and see what happens.
Yeah.
So
and Willie needs to stay on PP1. Sorry, I was just going to say because they've sometimes taken him and put him down on the second power play. Maybe it's to get the power play going, but they don't need it. Keep him up on PP1 and. Yeah, put him on top line with Matthews.
It's the only change I'd make on the power
play. So we're
play.
6 games in.
Sandine.
Is there any how many games you should give it before you start changing it up?
I'd already have it changed.
Do you think there's any benchmark? I know you would, but What's the?
I'm not a coach.
There's a reason why we're doing a nobody podcast in Newfoundland.
Yes. For 15
Imagine
listeners.
if we ran a team. What a mess. What a mess.
We have Facebook. We can use there.
Ron Clark be out of retirement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, yes. I'd have
20
I'd have
times.
Sundin on my first line.
Dougie Gilmore on the line with Matthews.
Well, Kelly Rudy said it last night. And Chad, you kind of mentioned it earlier. Listen, look at game number 50 this season. You look back at this and it'll be all forgotten. Like just
What to say?
I'll take this to my death. Just too much talent on this team. There's good grit. We've got good goaltending. There's too many good things. If I'm Montreal right now, I'm worrying a lot more than if I'm Toronto.
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh God, yes.
The beauty is, I mean, we talk about all the negatives around the last couple of games. So let's before we knock this on the head, let's talk about the positives. I know it's hard to pull any positives from last night's game, but I will point out one. Our bottom six has been scoring. And last year, for the 50 whatever games we played last year, that was not the case. Those top end players carried us all season and then carried us into the playoffs, and that was it. When they dried up, the team dried up. So right now we're getting some production out of. We got Kasha scored a goal and a beauty at that. I mean, Kempf has been really effective defensively, and I think it's only a matter of time before he breaks through as well. He looks creative and he's on the puck. I mean, these guys, Spezza, Simmons is all around it. He's going to cash soon too. Engvall.
Campbell's been playing fine.
Yep, Engvall's been playing well, and that hurts me to say it because I don't like the guy, but he has been playing what I would consider. Yeah, it is what it is. You know, he's a bottom six forward, so I'm okay.
Yep.
Can you see how much of an impact Mikheyev makes on this lineup, though, now that he's not in it?
Yeah, I guess.
On a penalty kill, mostly. I mean, that's what I was thinking.
I don't mind.
So
good
on the defense. No, I just think he's so good defensively. Like, I don't know. I miss him. Because I'm just saying, if we had him right now, we wouldn't be wondering who to put on that second line with JT and Marner, right? Like, we would already have him up there.
And he won't be the only one to get hurt this year either.
But you know what? The thing with Mikheyev is whether he's scoring, I know his shooting percentage is quite low, but whether he's scoring or not, he is such a threat out there because of his speed.
Yes.
And I like the guy can score. Like in his first season, he was scoring at a pretty good pace until he got hurt or whatever.
Severed his hand.
I think a lot with him is probably the same as Marner right now. It's just between the ears, right?
Yeah.
So, and that media is loud.
I liked Simmons' fight last night, but I just thought it was like 3 goals too late.
Right? Yeah, way too late.
But it was good to see him. And he went off. He went off. I was like,
he doesn't like to lose.
No,
and he played for Philly, so I mean Pittsburgh.
No, to see him chuck him like he did last night, I'm like, all right, I'm still with you guys. You have me for now. You know, they got me forever, realistically. But my point being is that it pulled me back in from laughing at them. Because I literally, last night, I was just sitting there. I was lying back in bed. And I was just like, what a joke. You know, I was literally laughing with every goal that was scored after 4. And like I said, I mean, I couldn't wait because I don't always watch the LFRs with Steve Dangle. But I do enjoy Steve's take on the blowouts because, first and foremost, while he's a very passionate guy and he yells and screams and that's his brand, he's not wrong a lot of the times either. And I wanted to hear his take, and his take on the whole thing revolved around the whole concept of we're only 6 games in, but it's the same product. It's the same thing we've seen for the past 4 years. It's the same. Oh, we got Vesnad by Elvis Merzlikins. We got Vesnad by guys I've never heard of, right? And that's always the same thing. He went into very much detail on that in his passionate way, but I couldn't disagree with him. I'm like, it's the same thing again. So I don't know. Like I said, it's
it's the higher gods. That's my conclusion. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
Uncontrollable forces.
That's the only thing that makes sense at this point.
That's why we added the Irishman to the podcast. We need to look at the Irish here, and now we got it. So things should eventually turn around for us. At least we hope so. Yeah. So
I hope so.
I'm happy to shut this down, guys. I think we got to the point. I think if anybody else made it through this podcast with us, I think you kind of see where we are with this. I think last night, if we would have done a podcast, it would have been you would have gotten a lot of hot takes which I think you got anyway on Facebook and Twitter and all of the other outlets. But I think you got a realistic take on where we stand, as I consider us all pretty passionate fans. Put it this way. This team got a long way to go before I throw a towel in on them. This particular team.
Oh, yeah.
Now, when Matthews goes to Arizona and Marner demands a trade and everything else, Ryan might back off a little bit from the Maple Leafs for a little while, but this particular team is probably the best Toronto Maple Leafs team I'm going to ever see. So I'm not going to give up just yet, and I hope a lot of you guys won't either. I hear Chad is taking a collection of anyone who's getting ready to burn their Mariner jerseys.
Yeah, let's be fair and get some offers, man. I'll sell them back to you.
I will take any. I will take any Nylander jerseys.
I'll take the autograph.
Actually, I'll just take anything. I'll just take anything. Hockey cards. Any hockey cards?
I'll autograph it for you.
I'll take a like and a share. That's all I'm going to ask you guys. Like and a share.
But you know what? The ownership needs to be better. The management needs to be better. The teams need to be better, and the fans need to be better. All right.
Yep.
Yeah. If all those things are better, the players are going to play better. That's just
literally though.
I hope.
Do you ever hear like the whole thing of positive thinking and putting the positive vibes out there?
Yeah.
There's none of that. Make no wonder they crash and burn.
Yeah. No pressure.
I really hope Dubas don't come out and do it. The Bergevin speech
from my couch.
I hope not. So he just.
I'd actually like to hear Dubas's take on this. I really would, because I when I hear Kyle Dubas take to the microphone, I don't get the old James Van Riemsdyk. We got to give 110% and go into the corners and
cliche.
You don't get that from Dubas. You get honest, raw, real
accountability
and accountability, and
even when he's not accountable, he'll gladly take it on screen anyway.
But at the same time, he's honest with the product that's on the ice. And I would have liked to. I haven't. That's what I'm going to do. I meant to do it before this podcast, but I just didn't have time. I'm going to look forward to listening to Keith's post game from last night, because he was pissed. Now he had a chance to cool off before the presser, but I am interested to hear what he had to say. So, nope, all good. We got a game tomorrow night. We won't be podcasting after that one, but I'm sure we'll talk about it in the near future. If it's a total blowout of a misery, maybe we will podcast. Who knows? But let's hope not. Let's hope we turn a corner.
And in Growlers news, there's a luncheon being held, I think, at the Glendevin Golf Course, being hosted by Dean McDonald for the Mount Pearl Chamber. So hopefully we see something for the Edge and Growlers.
Yeah. Have they given Dean the key to the town yet?
They should most certainly give it to Mount Pearl, and I would love to see it.
Yeah.
I will walk to every game, and I will be happy.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about parking on this guy's part, although it would be better than downtown. So
yeah.
I'm ready.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, but maybe we have that to announce tomorrow too, after that luncheon.
Yeah, a little bit of news.
I'm free for lunch tomorrow. Maybe I'll pop up. Like, what do you have,
your tux?
Yeah. What do you have, pause? What's on the go?
How's you gotten?
Yes. Man.
Oh my, gotta love it.
Yep.
All right, guys. I gotta peace out. Let's
Game
do it.
7.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Lulu meetings.
I don't even want to think of Game 7. Yeah, they do, like really early. Yeah, Game 7. I don't even want to think about any kind of Game 7s, even if it's games number 7.
This is where it changes. They're gonna have a blowout tonight. How about that? They're gonna blow them out tomorrow night. Game 7 curse ends.
I don't know if it wasn't Carolina and Freddie.
Oh, that's right. Anyway,
yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. I don't care what anybody says.
I was going to say and after Carolina, we have Detroit and what's the other team we're playing? No, anyway, whoever we're playing, it's not a very strong team, but Detroit is actually beating Chicago right now 6-3
after getting rolled by Montreal.
Right. So I mean, anything can happen.
Early season, guys. It's still very early season. If anybody hasn't noticed.
You've got Detroit also near the top of the standings. Like that's not
right.
Happening.
Like
that's not
there's something going on here. Yeah, it's going to change. Those who are crap will get better, and those who are good will.
Everybody relax.
Listen, my prediction right now: Toronto, Florida, not in any particular order. Toronto, Florida, Tampa, and Ottawa. I don't think Boston's going to do it.
Oh, this is the year they fall
I like
down.
that.
I think this is the year they're going to fail.
All right.
And I don't think there's pretty good so far. I don't think there's any other team in the division that can overtake them, other than Ottawa. But Ottawa's got to get that goaltending.
Yeah, that's right, man. Matt Murray is not well.
No, I think that's the swap this year.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
There's
actually.
a hot take.
Yep,
there's a hot take for sure.
I'll throw a hot take in.
Like
Logan Bunting's gonna have multiple hat tricks this year. Multiple.
Yeah,
that's a rookie.
Oh,
that's my hot take.
I like that.
All right, so I'm ready to knock this on the head.
Yep.
I'm proud, maybe, of where we came from start to finish on this one. You guys kind of talked me off the cliff a little bit. I think I was coming in a little hotter than most. And the problem being with that is I spent too much time today looking at the media and not actually thinking through it myself, like an educated person. So it is what it is. We are in 6 games of an 82 game season, and there's going to be games when they blow out teams the other way, and we're coming in here and we're waving the flag and ringing the bell and all the good things. So I'm looking forward to doing one of those with you guys.
I never listened to the media after a Leafs loss. I'm sooky enough. I don't need to get any more sookier. So like if I have any success or productivity the next day, then I'm staying away from all that. I got that many texts last night from even Habs fans razzing me. And I'm like,
what's up with that? Just you got a lot of room to talk.
Listen, if every Leafs fan did that for at least a month, I think it would reset everything. Tune out the media.
Yeah.
Tune them out.
Yeah.
They're making enough money now. You don't need to hear it.
The game was bad. We know it was bad. And it was really bad.
So
hopefully it can't get much worse. So it can only go up from here. So
I think that's what I'll title
the positivity.
I think Kylie just came up with the title of this episode. It was bad. It was really bad. It was really bad. I think that's going to be our title.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well,
but like I said, it can only get better.
It can only get better. Yeah, that's true. You're not going to see much worse than that this year. I mean, that's at an e-bug level. So, yeah, no, it's only we only can go up from here. So that's what we're here for. That's why we're doing this. We're fans. We're going to be fans. It's not going to change anything. We can be sad from time to time and upset, and but there's going to be other games too, and we're going to win a few. So, yeah. On that note, let's knock this on the head. Big shout out again to PHG Sports. Thanks so much, guys, for coming on board.
Thank you.
Sponsoring us into season 2 now of their sponsorship, and we couldn't be more thankful for that. Make sure, guys, to check out their online presence. You'll see it rolling across the screen down there now. www.phgsports.com. You can search by team. You can search by sport. They got a bunch of filters there and a lot of neat stuff. So things you probably didn't even realize you wanted, like me. Like I get on there, I'm like, I didn't even know I needed that in my life. So yeah, check them out. Also, you can follow them on Twitter and Facebook, and you'll get their up-to-date locations for their Costco Roadshow. Again, I mentioned earlier at the beginning there, longest-standing supplier of hand-signed merchandise to Costco Canada. So PHG Sports, that's where the pros sign.
My basement is full of his gear.
Yeah,
it's everywhere.
Patty's house is basically like the showroom. Yeah.
We're gonna do cribs one of these days. We're gonna have an episode of DSC and have cribs at Patty Phillips' house.
Pretty much.
Live show of Patty's. Oh, how unproductive that would be. But if you're looking for more DSC content or more podcast or more anything really, our main platform, of course, we use for our video podcast is on Facebook. Just search Deke Snipes-Selly on Facebook. www.facebook.com/DekeSnipesElly. If you want to get right to the root of all of our podcasts, you want to go back through the history. We have some great guests in season 1, even greater guests coming up in season 2. You can get us on YouTube. Just search Deke Snipes-Selly on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. That'll get you notifications on
that side.
Oh shit, this side. Yep. So yeah, hit that subscribe button and you'll get up to date news on anything we're posting. We've got a lot of cool stuff planned for this year. So, also on Twitter at Silly Deke. We're pretty weak on Twitter, but hey, give us a follow anyway. We're working on it. All right, guys, that's it for me. Peace out.
Cheers.
Bye.
Adios.